Good morning, everyone. This is Todd Brow with Senior Insurance Marketing, and we are excited to have Candice and Jack from Prosperity to talk about the final expense, New Vista. The New Vista is a great product. There's some 3 options available. Depends upon the health of the client, and it's a great product, great company. And especially in the COVID situation that we're in right now, we are getting a lot of people requesting. I'm doing a lot of quotes for life insurance right now, unfortunately, but also life insurance, even outside the COVID, is something that everyone needs to help protect their family in the event that the loved one passes away, that their final expenses are taken care of, as well as other expenses are taken care of as well too. So without further ado, I'm going to throw it over to Candice. And Candice, can you tell us more about the Prosperity New Vista final expense product?
Absolutely. So, yeah, the New Vista plan is a traditional whole life type final expense product. And what I just want to touch on, just in case you actually have not written a New Vista case yet, you're going to see the name Prosperity Life Group used on a lot of our marketing materials. We're actually a group of life companies. So the underwriting company that you'll see on the New Vista plans will be the SUSA company. So we realized that might throw you off a little bit. We do own multiple companies. The beauty of that is that it allows us to have licenses in almost all 49 states, and each company kind of markets a different type of product. But that does allow us also to have the A- excellent AM best rating on all of our companies, having this group. So Prosperity might be interchangeable with SUSA. You might also see SBLI USA. That company is actually marketing just in New York as of today, and then Shenandoah Life is doing some Medicare supplement. So just a little overview on the company itself as to explain that a little better. So what makes Prosperity's New Vista plan a little bit different than others? First of all, we do offer 3 plan options. I know a lot of carriers out there and a lot of great companies and carriers out there with options for you, but ours actually does offer the level or the day 1 coverage, a graded and a modified plan, all built into the same product, and we'll get into how each might be different. But what you'll see is that it's very simplified. Oh, hey Jack, welcome aboard.
Sorry about that.
Can you see our screen?
I can.
Okay, well, I'll let you kick it off. I was just going to go ahead and roll through, but you do a much better job of these than I do, so I'll let you start us off.
I don't know about that, but thank you, and I apologize to everybody for being late getting in. Made me go through a whole startup and re-register and everything else, so nothing I can do about that. But yeah, one thing I do want to stress to everybody, though, and I don't know if Candice hit on this or not, but one of the things that today with the COVID-19 and people having to work from home and so many people in America being laid off and out of jobs right now, we are in one of the few industries that not only can you stay employed, continue to make money, and actually vote yourself a raise right now. And what I mean by that is you're home, your customers are home, and what we're going to show you today is how you can sell them all day long when you're both home, and you can actually increase your income. And it's reasons like that we actually had our best week of the year last week as far as place business. So this is actually a very good time, and people are thinking about their mortality and they're thinking about life insurance. So take advantage of this while you can. But as Candice was saying, we do have all 3 plans. We have the level, the graded, and the modified plan. And we are the only company that I'm aware of out there that not only has all 3 plans, but will pay you the exact same commission level on all 3 plans as well, no matter what the age. So what does that mean? It means a 50-year-old on a level plan, you'll earn the same commission rate as you do on an 80-year-old on a modified plan. In addition, we like the graded and modified business, so you'll never hear from us about why you're submitting so much of it. We think it's a great opportunity for your customer to get insurance, and we're happy to pay you for delivering that product. You're going to see we're extremely friendly when it comes to diabetics. Our smoker rates are based on cigarettes only in the last 12 months, so we're not a nicotine rate. We are a true cigarette smoker rate. So what does that mean? I don't care if they chew, if they dip, if they vape, if they cannabis, if they cigar, if they pipe. Those are all non-smokers with us. Okay. We do offer true Social Security billing, and since we've gone to this, we've seen about a 15 to 20% increase on our direct express business. We are available in 44 states. We're not in Connecticut, Montana, New Hampshire, North and South Dakota. We're not available in New York on this plan, but as you can see, we are available in New York on our Golden Promise plan. They do not accept voice apps, so unless you're living there or planning on visiting there, you won't need that one right now. We do pay commissions as often as daily, and we have multiple ways to actually submit the application. So with that, one of the things that we've added in the last 6 months or so that is really slick is we now have one portal where you can go to find everything you need about your business. So it's www.insuranceadmin.com/agent. And right there, you can find your quoting information, your commission statements, your policy information, marketing materials, reporting tools, order supplies, anything that you need to do, you can do in one spot. And you know, for those with downlines, you can actually track your downlines business in that same spot as well. So it's really just a great tool. Our contracting normally runs about 2 days in a just-in-time state. Unfortunately, with the COVID-19 issues out there, states are running way behind on background checks and all. That is unfortunately totally out of our control. So I have seen them taking as much as 4 or 5 days now, but hopefully that will all be back to normal very quickly. And we are an A- excellent rated company. We do have a contest running. We ran this all of last year. We're running it all of this year into next year. We'll see where we go next year. We do not offer a trip. I know there's a lot of great companies out there that offer some spectacular trips. Unfortunately, if you qualified for one of those in 2020, you're probably not going. And that's a shame, and it's nothing that people could do about it. I know your guys' trip is still on, or it's been rescheduled, and hopefully that will take place. But what we're going to do is we're going to give you cash so you can take it with you on the trip and have a great time. Ours is run on a quarterly basis, so you can miss a quarter and still qualify in the next quarter. And it's based strictly on paid production for that quarter. And once you hit $20,000 in paid production, we'll pay you a 10% bonus back to $1. So if you were to do $20,000, you'd get a $2,000 bonus. If you were to do $78,000, we would pay you a $7,800 bonus. And whatever it is, there is no cap on it. Our top agent last quarter was $109,000, so he got a little bit over $10,900 as his bonus check. So great opportunity to make some extra cash on top of the extra money you're already making. The issue ages of our policy, and you're going to hear me use the word simple and easy a lot during this presentation, because we do believe in it's simple. We believe in it. I think that's because I'm not the smartest guy in the world, so I like things simple and easy. But having said that, all our policies are issued ages 50 to 80. They all expire at age 121. We offer the accidental rider on all of our policies. It expires at age 75. The face amounts go as low as $1,500, as high as $35,000. Now, if there is a state requirement, we would follow that. For example, the state of Washington requires a minimum face amount of $5,000. Our plans are based on a risk and rate class based on a male and female, and then cigarette smoking only. Remember, it says tobacco or non-tobacco, but that is cigarettes only. And then the premiums are based on the issue age, the gender, the smoking class, and are fixed throughout the lifetime of the contract. And this is a whole life extension, so it does build cash value accumulations. And then our premiums, you can pay our premiums in multiple ways. About 90% of our people pay their premiums through an EFT monthly bank draft, which is the most preferred way to do it. We'll also take a debit card tied directly to an account or a direct express debit card. We will not advance you if you pay with plastic. So either a debit card or a direct express are not advanceable, but we do make them available monthly, quarterly, semi-annually, and annually. And then we also offer a direct bill quarterly, semi-annual, or annually, but I'd encourage you to stay away from that as the persistency on that is not very good. Okay, we do have a $40 policy fee. It is built right into the rates. It is commissionable for you, so you will get paid on that. And how you get an instant decision during this process, and whether it's through our phone app or any of our other app processes, we will run an MIB and a prescription drug check on people. At the same time, we're answering all the questions. We'll also run a LexisNexis check on them. All those will be running behind the scenes. We'll answer all the questions. There might be a re-ask or two if required. We'll do that. We will render an instant decision to you on about 90 plus% of all your cases within 30 seconds. So you will know before you hang up the phone or you leave somebody's house what that person is going to qualify for. Really a great way to do business these days. Okay, just to add to my fun, now my landscapers are outside the window, so I apologize if you hear a little bit of noise from the leaf blower and the lawnmowers. We do have an accelerated death benefit feature. It is not the best one in the marketplace, but it is what we have, and we'll go over that in a minute. And then we have an accidental death benefit rider that's available on all 3 plans. Again, things simple, and it doubles the face amount. Let's take a look at how the plans work and make sure everybody's on the same page with the definitions. We do have the level plan, and just so we're on the same page, let's say somebody was applying for a $20,000 death benefit. What we would do is the day that check clears the bank or their first payment clears the bank, they would be insured for $20,000 starting day 1 coverage. If they had qualified for the graded death benefit plan, we're pretty standard out there in the industry today. Most companies are 30/70 as we are. There's still a few 25/75s, but most of us are 30/70. What does that mean? It means if they were to die in the first year, they would get 30% of that benefit, or $6,000. In the second year, they would get 70%, or $14,000. Starting year 3, they would get their full face amount death benefit. On both the graded and the modified, if they were to die accidentally in those first 2 years, they would receive that full $20,000 face amount that we're using as an example. As far as the modified goes, we are extremely different here, so I would ask you to make sure that you make note of this. Most companies out there on their return of premium plan, and I'm just going to make up a hypothetical number on that $20,000 policy that, let's just say they were paying $100 a month in premium. If you were to die after 1 month, with most companies out there, the beneficiary would receive that $100 back under the return of premiums, plus a 10% bonus, or $110 back. Prosperity treats it totally different. We annualize that premium day 1. So what does that mean? It means although you've only paid us 1 month at $100, we're going to annualize that to $1,200. We're still going to pay you a 10% on top of that, or another $120, or we would send the beneficiary back $1,320. So it really is a great benefit on the return of premium. In year 2, it goes to 231%. By the way, another thing we're different on is we do not charge you back for early death claims. What do I mean? Again, let's just say you had got advanced hypothetically 6 months, and the person had paid 4 months and they were to pass away. The 4 months that you actually earned that commission on is yours to keep. We would not charge you back that. And we are going to take back the 2 months of advance that were never earned. That makes sense. I'm sure everybody can agree with that. We didn't get paid. We can't really afford to pay you on it. But as long as we got paid the premium, you get to keep your commission. Okay. And notice again, we keep everything the same with the ages, because some companies out there might, do level 50 to 80 at 35,000. But then if somebody were to qualify for the return of premium modified, they would only go to age 75 and reduce the face amount match to 20,000. That would be a problem if you were in the middle of the call with Aptico and all of a sudden the person remembered a illness that they forgot to tell you about, or we found it during the MIB or the script check. So it makes your life a whole lot easier, as I mentioned earlier. The accelerated death benefit feature, we will only go to 50% on that. So the 50% for the level is not as good as some of the others out there. Some of them go as high as 80, 85, 90%. I've even seen 95%. But how we make up for that is we will also give you the 50% on the graded and the modified death benefit as well. And then the optional accidental death benefit rider, which doubles the face amount, same on all 3 policies. So again, we have those for you. Okay. So the application, when you're doing the application via and Candice, we'll go to the next page. There we go. When you're doing the application on a voice app, you will not be asking the medical questions, but we do encourage you to make sure that you have, and you've done some pre-qualifying before you get to that point. So I always advise people to print off a copy of the paper application so they have them. And then before you actually start the whole process with Aptico and going through the application, I always ask a couple simple questions. I ask the person, First off, have you had any major illnesses in the last 3 years? Heart attack, cancer, stroke, anything along those lines. Right away, that one question will signify a lot of times, illnesses that you need to look up. The other thing I always ask them is I need to understand your prescription history, and I need to understand it in 3 different ways. I need to know what medications you are currently taking. I need to know what medications you decided to stop taking, and I need to know what medications that your doctor prescribed that you never actually started taking. The reason why I ask it that way is because even if the person is no longer taking it or they never started taking it, it is going to be in their medical records. We're going to find that medication and we're going to find the underlying health cause for it. So again, it just makes your life a lot easier. Okay. So let's just take a look at the application. We'll run through this pretty quickly. I'm not going to do it word for word, but it will show you pretty much what it is. And anybody who's ever done, final expense in the past, you're going to take a look at this application and say it looks pretty standard. All of us use pretty much the same questions on our application. There's a few exceptions. Okay. But the first question again goes back to the cigarettes only in the last 12 months. It's not a tobacco. It's not a nicotine, right? It's cigarettes only. If they haven't smoked cigarettes, please make sure you answer that no. We do have a height and weight chart. It's very liberal, but you would put in the height and weight. And then you're going to ask the 6 disqualifying questions. Okay, and those 6 questions are, is proposed insured currently or in the last 30 days been hospitalized, committed to a psychiatric facility, confined to a nursing facility, receiving hospice or home health care, or confined to a wheelchair due to a disease or waiting an organ transplant? Do they require help with their ADLs? Within the past 12 months, have they been advised to have any diagnostic tests, home health care, hospitalizations which have not yet started, been completed, or for which the results are not known? That's important because lots of times they might go have a test, haven't gotten the results, they decide this would be a good time to buy insurance. That will be kicked out when we find that out later down the road. Are they on the use of oxygen, excluding a CPAP or a nebulizer? Do they need kidney dialysis? Again, those are all disqualifiers. Do they have AIDS or HIV? Are they currently under treatment for Alzheimer's disease, dementia, Lou Gehrig's, cirrhosis of the liver, stage C? We'll see A and B later in the program under graded, but stage C is a disqualifier. And then have they had multiple types of cancer? And if the answer to that is yes, excluding skin cancer, unfortunately, they would not qualify. So those are your disqualifying questions. Hopefully asking those couple questions up front, I've eliminated you from even needing to go down that path with Aptical, because remember, they're the ones asking these questions. Okay, so then we'll look at the modified questions. In the last 2 years, these are 2-year questions. Have you been hospitalized or needed treatment for the use of drug or alcohol? Complications of diabetes, such as diabetic coma or insulin shock, or an amputation due to complications of diabetes or any other disease. Notice what we do not ask. We do not ask when their insulin or when their diabetes started. We do not ask dosage of insulin. We don't care how much insulin they're taking, how they're taking it. What we are looking for is major complications of diabetes, and neuropathy. But most things are going to go through on a level basis with people who are diabetic. Do they have problems with the circulatory system, heart attack? Again, if they had those, we're happy to take them. We're just going to put them under a modified situation. In the past 3 years, just want to see if you're paying attention. Has the proposed insurance been diagnosed or treated or prescribed medication for internal cancers, leukemia or multiple melanomas? And then back to 2 years, 2 or more convictions of reckless driving or driving under the influence, DUI or DWI. Again, take them, but they would be modified. Last section, hopefully they've answered everything no. We get to our last section, which is part C, which is your graded section. Has the proposed insured been treated by a medical profession for Parkinson's disease, lupus, sickle cell disease? Here's your cirrhosis stages A and B, chronic hepatitis, other liver disorders, kidney failures or kidney disease, COPD. A lot of people in this space do have COPD. Again, we're happy to take them. Would be graded. Emphysema, black lung disease, or tuberculosis. And then do they have bipolar, schizophrenia, or they've been hospitalized in the last 2 years for mental or nervous disorders? Hopefully they've answered everything no. If that's the case, they're level. If not, we're still happy to insure them under a modified or graded plan. I will tell you, this is really important to talk to your customer before you dial into Aptical. We want them to get through this process as smoothly and as easily as possible. And the best way to do that is for them to keep their answers short and simple. Obviously, truthful with the interviewer. We want yes and no answers. We don't really want to know about grandma's ingrown toenail in 2006. We don't want to know about the the eye patch that she had to wear for a week because she got a splinter in her eye. All we want is answers to these questions. If you want to spend a minute before you dial into Aptical, just coach your insureds to do exactly that. Obviously, if there's a yes answer, they're going to have to spend a little bit more time to answer that. But that's how we do it. So we do have the voice application. We also have an e-app when they're out in the street face to face on a clear day with no wind. We take smoke signals. Not really, just kidding on that one. But we do have multiple ways to do the application. With that, I will turn it to you, Miss Candice.
Okay, thank you, Jack. For the purposes of today's presentation, we're just going to focus on the non-face-to-face option, which is our voice signature option, since that's what you're currently going to be using in the field. So assuming that you're already contracted with Prosperity Life and you've already received your welcome email with your writing number, you will also in that same email have a link to the Aptical Live App portal, and this is where you'll submit this application. So once you get signed into Aptical with the credentials that we provided to you, you'll want to just go up under the application menu at the top left of the screen, drop that box down, and you'll see an option that says to start the application. So once you do that, you're going to see some additional boxes pop up, and you'll need to fill in the company name, which is always SUSA Prosperity Life, and then the product type. So this really refers to whether you're selecting the NuVista Voice or the NuVista e-app. And again, that's just driven by, are you face-to-face with the client or not? So in the non-face-to-face situations, it's always going to be NuVista Voice. The state selection should be the state that your client is located in. So just in case you're selling across state lines, this is not necessarily your state, but indeed the state that your client is located in. The language will always be English. That's all that we offer at this time. And then you can proceed right into the rate calculator and start feeding the application the information it needs. So once you have your rate calculator completed, and again, you've probably already run a quote for the client just to kind of get an idea of what they can afford, how much coverage they'll be able to afford. So you'll just want to feed this information right into the rate calculator built into the application process. When you hit calculate, you'll notice that you get 3 different plan options, of course, because there is 3 different plan types associated with the NuVista product. So after you have already reviewed the health questions with your client as well as their prescription history, you can select whether they'll qualify for level, graded, or modified, and then create the application. From here, you're just going to fill in the basic information. This is, if you were looking at a paper application, pretty much everything off page 1. Couple things to note here. Your payor must be your proposed insured or your owner. We do not, in the voice application process, allow for an other. If you select other, it'll stop you here, and you'll have to basically just find another, way for them to pay. So the other big thing is too, for now, as of today, the NuVista Voice process cannot be used if they're replacing existing coverage. Feel free to add additional coverage to your applicant, but if they are replacing an existing policy, you'll have to find another product or conduct a face-to-face meeting in order to complete the replacement forms. So the big difference here with the voice application process is the method in which you can deliver the disclosures, okay? So you're not face-to-face with them. You can't hand them the paper disclosures. You can't show it to them on your iPad if you were taking an e-application. So because you're doing this over the phone, you have a couple of options. The best option that we recommend is to email these disclosures ahead of time to your client. These disclosures are found in the agent portal. You can just log right in, click on resources, and you'll see these at the very top of the list. You can download them, attach them to an email, and send them out to your client before the 3-way call to Aptical. Now, you might be thinking, well, a lot of these clients don't have an email address. That's okay, no problem. We give you another option. They can just listen to the recorded playbacks if they don't have an email address. Not a big deal, just add a little bit of time to your call. From here, you'll just fill in their basic information. This is their name, address, phone number, their contact information. A couple of things to note: what is required on this form is their social security number. They must have their social security number, and it has to be an actual social and not an I-10 number. Those are not acceptable for the New Vista plan. They also must be a U.S. citizen or a legal permanent resident with a green card. That is a knockout if they say no to that question. So a couple things, it'll just ask you to confirm the benefit amount that they selected and whether or not they're taking the accidental death benefit rider. If there's a future payment date, it will ask you that question: is there a future effective date involved in this application? That's their yes or no. If you say yes, then they must be able to provide payment within 35 days of taking the application. If they say no, they don't want a future date, that's okay. We'll just go ahead and draft their payment immediately upon issuing the case. A little bit on the next page further down, you'll have to reselect their monthly payment mode, or if they're paying quarterly or semi-annually, that's okay too. We do give them several options, and you'll just confirm whatever fits their budget the best. From there, you're going to notice that there are a lot of different payment options. So again, just to reiterate, if they're selecting to pay in the future and they're not paying immediately upon issuance of the case, they must submit that first payment within 35 days of the date of the application. Now, if they're setting up a recurring draft, we can draft the same day each month between the 1st and the 28th. For obvious reasons, we can't set up a recurring draft on the 29th, 30th, or 31st, but we also do allow them to align that deposit or draft date with their Social Security deposit. So if they are a Social Security recipient and they want to sync up their draft date with their deposit date, just make sure to select the Social Security billing box. You'll see the little option that offers that as you're working through the application. And then let's assume they get paid on the 3rd. If the 3rd of the month happens to fall on a non-working day, then we'll back up their draft date and actually draft on the day they get paid, which will be the previous business day, instead of waiting until the following business day. We can also sync up if they're getting paid on a particular Wednesday of the month that's in accordance with their date of birth. You'll notice that it'll ask that question. This is based on their pay or birth date, and that's only for those Wednesday bill dates. So we'll sync that up for them as well. We can draft their checking or savings account via EFT. We can also accept a debit card tied to a bank account or the Direct Express MasterCard if they're getting their Social Security benefits deposited there. Just keep in mind that we only pay advances for the EFT, the bank draft. So you have to provide the routing and account number in order to qualify for an advance on the case. So from here, once you get all the payment information input, you will provide the beneficiary information. This voice application will allow you to submit up to 3 primaries and up to 3 contingent beneficiaries. The only thing that's required on this form is going to be their name and relationship to the insured. All of the other information is really beneficial to capture, but we understand they may not have their social or date of birth or even their address at hand when taking the app. If they don't provide it up front, just make sure to go back and get that later, because as you can imagine at claim time, it's really crucial that we have as much information on file as possible. So last step, before you submit the application, you're going to just provide your agent certification. We're going to pre-fill all of your data into these blanks. So just look over it, make sure it's correct. If you've ever gotten a new agent number or if your telephone number's ever changed, maybe your last name changed, Aptical may not have the most up-to-date information. So just please make sure to check and double check it before you submit it. And then finally, any additional comments, there is a comments box here if you need to let new business know something that maybe wasn't contained in the application itself. So once you're ready to submit and complete your call to Aptical to do the underwriting piece, you'll want to make note of the application ID number that's provided to you. Jot this number down. You'll want to keep up with that in case you need to refer back to the application later on. You'll do a 3-way call to this 800 number. This is Aptical's regular telephone line to complete an interview. And then once your interviewer picks up, you'll let them know that you have a New Vista voice application for Prosperity and give them your application ID number. This helps your interviewer jump right to all that work you just did. They don't have to dig around for it. Now, during the interview call, you'll want to make sure that every single party to the application is present and ready to provide their voice signature. So if there's a separate owner, you may have to do a separate call out to that owner and tie them into that line. So just make sure that everybody who's party to the app is on the call for the entire interview. Aptical will validate some of the entries that you provided, such as their name, the spelling of their name, date of birth, social security number, things like that, so that the customer identity validation check will be able to be completed. If there is something in their ID check that pops up that's invalid, Aptical will continue with the interview and let the case go through, but new business might have to reach out to you afterwards to validate a date of birth or social or spelling of their name. So just be wary that Aptical will let you know if that happens. You'll want to, be prepared for that. They're going to ask the proposed insured if they receive their disclosures. Again, if you email those ahead of time, great. Just let your proposed insured know to say yes to this question. And then if not, they'll just play the recordings. From there, they'll go through all the medical questions just like we looked at. They read those verbatim the way they are on the application. And then they'll run the MIB and the prescription drug checks. Now, once they're able to come to a decision, and that should be about 95% of your cases, maybe even better, they'll let you know the decision. In some cases, they might have to re-ask some of the medical questions, like if they're taking a dual-purpose medication. That's okay. It may pop up that that is able to be used for, let's say, high blood pressure and congestive heart failure. So you can expect that they're going to re-ask that question related to the heart condition. And again, just let your client know that that's normal, and they will just answer the question appropriately. Now, if the underwriting decision varies from the plan that they initially applied for, Aptical will also let you know that while you're on the phone with them. They can run a new quote and adjust the face amount if necessary to meet the client's budget. So that can all be done on the same call without having to get a separate amendment signed later. Once everybody is happy with their application, the proposed insured and the owner, if that's a separate person, and the agent will all provide their voice signatures. And then the whole application will get packaged up in a PDF format and sent over to our home office the next business day. Keep in mind, we actually don't receive your application until the next day. So if you go looking for it in your agent portal, it's actually going to take about 2 business days to show up there. So don't panic if you don't see it right away. It does take a little time to flow through the various different systems. Once the case is issued, and this typically takes, for a bank draft case, this takes about 3 business days from the date of the application. Your policy owner or owner will be mailed the copy of the policy as well as the application completed and signed. It'll all say signed by voice. And if they have any questions, of course, you'll want to just make sure that they reach out to you and you can answer any questions that they might have about their plan. Now, if at any point in time your customer says they have to stop, they're not ready to complete the interview, maybe something comes up, somebody knocks on the door, and they're like, hey, can you call me back in an hour? Not a problem. You're not going to lose all the work that you started. So you can place the application in a pending status and then go back to it later. So the way you would go back and search for your applications is under the same application menu you started from, there's an option to search applications. From there, the best way to find it quickly is with that application ID number. If it's already been assigned to the case, you can search by that. Or if you want to just search all of your applications, just fill in the company name, Prosperity-S-USA, click search, and you'll see all of your applications. The status will tell you what's happening with that app. So if it says close complete, you'll know that one's completely finished. It's been submitted to the home office for processing, and it's well on its way. If it says pending user action, that probably means you need to complete that telephone interview, or there's additional fields that you didn't complete when you started the application. So just know it's okay. You can always log back in and pick up these where you left off. And here's just important information for you to be aware of regarding the plans. If you guys have any questions, in just a moment, I'm going to put up our agent care support line information. you ever, get halfway through a sale and decide that you have questions, you can reach out to our home office team and you'll get a, friendly voice, and we'll be happy to assist you. And from there, Jack, I will turn it back over to you with any further comments.
Yeah, that great job as always, Candice. And we do try to pride ourselves on being there to support agents. I spent 15 years in the field selling products, so I understand what you guys go through on a daily basis. So certainly understand that part of it. If there's any questions, you can put them in the chat box, or I don't know if we have anybody, if they can get on the phone and ask them verbally. So I will do that.
Yeah, if anyone has any questions, put it in the chat box because everyone is muted here. But if you have any questions, put it in the chat box, and Candice and Jack will be happy to answer it for you. Let me check here. I don't see anyone in the chat box. Always, if you're not contracted with Prosperity, give us a call here at Senior Insurance Marketing. Our phone number is 877-800-3080. We'll be happy to get you contracted with Prosperity. And if you're already contracted with Prosperity, need some help with a client that you're working with, be happy to help you out with that to make sure if it's a graded, modified, or level death benefit that the client would qualify for as well too. So Jack and Candice, I don't see anything in the chat window.
Okay.
But Jack and Candice, really appreciate you taking the time and talking to us about Prosperity and the final expense. And again, I've been running a lot of life insurance quotes, final expense quotes, since this COVID hit. So feel free to give us a call here at Senior Insurance Marketing, and we'll be happy to help you out because we are here to help you grow your business. Thanks again, Jack and Candice. And
thank you, Todd. We appreciate the time and the opportunity.
Hey, you're welcome. And
yeah, everybody take care.
Thank you. And everyone have a great day.